All right, we're rolling. It's Monday. It is May 18th. What a beautiful, wonderful day. I hope it is wherever you're at. As we keep continuing to go here in spring. And man, I'm excited to be here with you. I'm excited to share with you. And I love this question and I appreciate it. So this week came this morning from Whitney Beer. She posted in here in the Impact Makers group. I'm going to read the question verbatim. Okay. What do you guys do on your push week? I've seen some people lately doing a 15-day push for this week and next because a lot of high enrolling weeks orders are falling into this week and next. What else do you guys do for your push weeks? Okay. So I'm going to get into this. I'm going to break this down in 3 different ways. Okay. So stay with me. 3 different ways. And I might put this here in the, I'm going to edit 3 ideas. All right. So 3 ideas. Bear with me. I'm going to, roll this out. Looking at houses. Go Whitney. Good for you. Okay. Hopefully no volcano blows. Is this the anniversary of Mount St. Helens or something, Sherry? Help me out there. I'm guessing. Okay. If so, it is what it is. All right. So 3 different ideas with push weeks. 1, what is a push week? Is a push week. I'm just typing this in as we're going through it. This will kind of keep me organized, guys, because if you've ever noticed, I can get a little off. Who needs to think about it? When and what? Okay, so the 3 ideas. What is a push week? Who needs to think about it? And 2, when and what do you do? Okay, so a push week may be a week. I shared this a couple weeks ago, and I think it's a great way to look at it. This comes from my friend Zach Slobin. I was watching him one day, and he talked about training for soccer. And in soccer, there's a training drill where you'll run around the field and you'll do a sequence of movements. So you'll walk a distance, you'll run another distance, and then you'll sprint. And then you come back to a walk, run, sprint, walk, run, sprint. And what happens is because there's 3 walk, run, sprint, 3 speeds, and you're going around a field which has 4 sides, okay? 2 end lines, 2 side lines. You'll end up sprinting on one of the long sides, and you'll end up walking one of the long sides, running on the short and long sides. Okay, just give you guys some context here. And so I view what is a push week. A push week is where maybe you just turn it up a notch. If your normal every week sequence is, let's say on a scale of like if a normal week going on your speedometer is you go 60. All right, you can go 60 kilometers, you can go 60 miles an hour, depends where you're at. You're at 60, okay? And on a push week, you say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna crank it up a little bit. I'm gonna go 70. I'm not gonna go 1,000. I'm gonna go 70. So that would be like a run. Well, then on the next week, you say, oh, all right, I did 70. Now I can do 80. Okay. And you find your speeds that you can oscillate in depending on life. And so a push week is a week that you look at your numbers and you say, hey, you know what? This is where I'm going to really say, everyone, do just a little bit more. Do just a little bit more because it's like that walk, run, sprint. We need to sprint. And why is that impactful to me is what a push week is when you maybe encourage everyone to do a little bit more. As a leader, you might throw a contest. You might have a contest to kind of just encourage a little bit more activity. And here's the thing that I think is interesting. Mostly as a leader, I would say you're not trying to encourage activity from the people that are normally always going. So it's not like going to someone that is, at a sprint and say, hey, you're not going fast enough. They're already sprinting. It isn't get them to more. It's the people that are walking, you want them to run. It's the people that are running, you want them to sprint. And the people that are sprinting, just say, hey, find a pace that you can maintain. Find this little short, you know what, next week you're going to walk. And the people that run, maybe that encourages them to sprint. I hope I'm giving you guys something tangible to kind of get your head around what is a push week. Okay, so who needs to think about it? Very rarely have I ever, and I hope you guys recognize this, I don't like to necessarily say there's activities and segregate by people. But this is one of those things I want to give you some freedom. You're like, oh, do I need to think about a push week? Well, for me, until you've been kind of involved, you've got this critical mass of your business going. If you're someone that you just got started last week, reality is you're just trying to find your place. What's your pace? Where are you going to go? And it's a little bit of ignorance on fire. I would say that can really be the case until maybe you get to, 15 to 20 cycles a week on average. So that doesn't mean you hit 20 cycles this week and back to 2 or 3. I mean, that's a business that's out of alignment. That's a business that's way out of whack. Okay. And so it's really looking at to say, okay, my business is kind of, it runs between 8 and 15 cycles. There's some people involved. We have more than maybe just a handful. We're not seeing this week where all of a sudden I'm at 3, 4, 5 cycles and then 2 weeks at 0. And then 3, 4, 5 cycles and then 0. It's not, it's kind of, you have some momentum going in your business. And so this is speaking for a leader to really encourage and say, what does this look like? All right, here is the most important thing. And I'm going to break out my whiteboard. Bear with me here. And forgive me if I have some stuff here that you guys can see. You've never seen me do this before, but I'm going to do it. And this is where I want to explain, okay? When, you guys like that? Did you like that? If you like that, tell Kelly, because she didn't like it. She didn't think it was very impressive. Okay. So this is what I'm going to show you. Who or when should you have a push week? Okay. So I'm going to just pull up our fancy little back office here so I can get the weeks right. So that way I'm talking relevant information with you guys today on May 18th, okay? So here on May 18th, this is the week ending May 24th, right? All right. So if I'm going to jump back and I'm going to use a bear with me here. Bear with me, guys. You're going to have this. Okay. So say, for example, 4 weeks ago, which was week ending 4/26, and then you have, let me know, and the reason I'm marking this out, because I want you guys to be able to really comprehend this whole study. So 5, 3, 5, 10, 5, 17, 5, 24, which is this week. Okay, if your cycles go 27, 23, let's go 7, and then you jump up to 46, and then you're looking at whatever this week is. Which week do you think you should push on? Which week do you think we should push on? Obviously had a lot of growth on that week, all right? Now, relative 4 weeks ago was 27. So our goal for this week should be 27 plus, all right? Why should it be that week? Because it's 4 weeks prior. So in other words, anyone that enrolled during the week of, 4/26, when is their auto ship going to come up? It's likely going to come up during this week. Now, if I were to look at this and you may think, oh, wow, look at that big week. There was a big week last week. So in 4 weeks, we should push on that week. No, the week you should push on is this one. Bring your lows. Now, let me give you an example. All right, so those 4 weeks, bear with me here. I'm going to do some on-the-fly math. We have 57, 97, 103 cycles. All right? 103 cycles over those 4 weeks. Now, let me just say that someone had a business where they had 22, they had 20, they had 18, they had 37. Let's do this. Let's make that a little different, okay? Let's say they had 31, they had 31, they had 29, and they had 31. Which business had more cycles? I'm sorry, you can't see that because of the light. Let me, all right, so that's a 31. I apologize, it's in the light. Which business has more cycles? It's this business over here, the more consistent one. This one, to me, it needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed because you have this super low week that ruins kind of all the momentum. You kind of go along, you fall off, have this huge explosion, everyone gets excited, they're frantic. We got to fix this week. Because if we get this week up next week to say 20 all of a sudden we have this big week that goes with it. So that's when should you have the push week? Well, over here, that other person at 29 should have the push week there. All right, I may have confused you guys, but I want to make sure that you guys kind of grab this so you understand when to have a push week. You find your push week at your low week. You don't, the high weeks will take care of themselves. And let me just explain why I believe that. One of the biggest things from a psychological point of view, I gotta put my picture back, all right? I'm with you. One of the biggest things that I've seen from a psychological point of view is that people have these huge weeks, and then the next week, all of a sudden, maybe cycles are real slow, and they're like, oh, my business doesn't work. Oh, this sucks. Oh, I'm doing all this hard work and I'm getting nowhere. Oh, I had all this great, growth last week, and then this week, oh, I give up. And 1 week, 1 month that happens, not a big deal. 2 and 3 and 4 months, because once you create that cycle, guess what? You can't get out of it unless you work against it. So if you're working for that cycle to be always where that high week you're taking advantage of, you just make that spread worse and worse and worse and worse. And here's where it's really bad. You're right, Deborah. Consistency. Be consistent, because you're gonna have more success over the long term if you're consistent. And so it's almost looking back and saying, all right, I know in our business, in 3 weeks, man, we're gonna really need to work on that week. What are we planning? Okay, this gets into the number 3. What to plan? To me, that's contests. To me, that is maybe doing every night. Say, hey, we're gonna have a special opportunity call every night. Maybe a different leader lead them. We're going to make sure that we have a challenge during that week. We're going to make sure that we are, doing things that to say, hey, my schedule, I'm going to maybe open it up a little bit. If you need to do 3-way calls, if we need to do extra Zooms, we need to map out where we're at for rank advancements. Well, let's get all that mapped out, and let's make sure that low week is the week that we're just hitting it. And there's a lot of reason to this too. If you look at your leader in action formula, if you can maximize on the weeks that are low, it all of a sudden really advances what your shares are. Because there's some people, they don't get this. They think if you maximize the high weeks, well, what happens to the high weeks? The high weeks, if all you do is focus on them, especially after, the first month, you may get all right. The second and the third month, if you keep pushing the high weeks and you forget about the low weeks start to drag you down. The low weeks start to psychologically check people out. The low weeks, you lose people. But if you all of a sudden grow and you grow and you grow and you grow, that's when your business starts to take off. If we had a business, say we had a business, okay? We had a business where I ran a manufacturing business, okay? And because of the manufacturing business, we had to ship things out. And say we knew, for example, that, this week was a really, really big week. And, we have people work overtime, and all of a sudden it's like, this is costing us a lot of money. Now, next week is a really, really light week. And we have the same amount of people working, but now instead of, having enough work for 40 hours a week for everyone, we end up having, only enough work for 30 hours. And so what happens is our costs are a lot higher on the low weeks and our costs are a lot higher on the high weeks. Same thing happens in our business. It just looks a little different. So if you maximize the low weeks, what you're doing is you're helping drive up your, revenue. And the high weeks take care of themselves. That week that just hit, that I mentioned back there, 46, dude, that week is going to, you either have a lot of enrollments going on that week, you have a lot of things going on. Now, here's the question. What do you need to do for all those people? Oh, you need to make sure you follow up and be consistent and do all those things so that way they're here a month from now. So part of the push week during low weeks is to making sure that you're consistently following up with the people from the last week, from maybe the high week. Go into a little bit of overdrive in regards to following up them, because if you hit them, there's the honeymoon period, right? Has anyone ever told you about the honeymoon period in Isogenics? Give me a like or a heart or something if you heard of the honeymoon period. If you haven't, let me explain it right now, okay? The honeymoon period is anywhere between day 5 and day 21 for most people. Day 5 for a lot of people, they consume the products and they're like, what happened to me? I got a light bulb, just going off in my head. I got a rainbow coming out of who knows what. And they're just excited. That's the day you want to talk to people. Because when they are that excited, they will share with anyone, and to make sure that you're talking to them. Now, for some people, quite honestly, that aha doesn't come until maybe 3 weeks later. And so it's important to follow that honeymoon period. And if you're coinciding that with your high and your low weeks, now all of a sudden you can really build your business. Because here's the key. To build a business, you have to look at it like a business. And to look at a business, you look at it from a revenue side. You don't look at it from awards. All right, I'm going to say something that maybe just that catches people a little bit. Here's what I want to caution you guys. When you look at your push weeks as a way to get recognized, you're looking at it as a hobby instead of a business. If you're looking at your weeks to push to grow your business, to be more consistent and create a more sustainable long-term income, recognition doesn't matter. There was a point in time where this kind of came out, and I said to Kelly, and Kelly's like, well, I like getting recognized. I like rank advancing. And there's times where you get bonus. There's a revenue to it, okay? I'm not taking away from the 1-star, the 2-star, the 3-star. Hey, there's some strategy there. If you can grab that money, get it, okay? Time value of money, grab it as fast as you can. But once you get past that, there's nothing to gain by hitting another rank. Kelly and I can hit another rank, and it doesn't do anything for us. It does nothing for us. Now, if we construct our daily activities and focus our business on saying, what can we do to increase our income over the year? We may rank advance. We may have no rank advancements. We went years without rank advancing, and yet our income grew and grew and grew. And our ranking in the top, whatever income earners grew and grew and grew, but our rank never changed. Why? Because we looked at saying, how can we strategically grow our income and not worry about our rank? Because once you get past 3-star, I'm sorry, rank doesn't matter. I would rather be the lowest ranked person in the top 5 than necessarily be the highest ranked person in the top 200. Okay? Does that make sense? And so that's just from my heart. That's a little different. This is not to take away from recognition. Hey, that's important. People really strive for that stuff. I'm not discounting that. But I also, at some point, you got to put on your business hat and say, am I doing this for a hobby where I just want to get accolades? Or am I doing this as a business to impact people, create transformation, and allow financial income to drive my business? Because a rank does not pay your bills. You get past 3-star, okay? 3-star, yeah, it can help pay your bills. The bonus is good, right? Okay? But once you get past that, a new rank does not pay your bills. A new rank does not, put shoes on my kids' feet. A new rank doesn't pay for their soccer workout. It doesn't. And so it's kind of looking at that to say, how can I build? How can I build? How can I build? And I will impress upon you, in my experience in business, pre-isogenics and in isogenics, it is, if you focus on the low weeks and always build, why did we drop low that week? How can we make it higher? Go back and analyze, why was that week low? Did we have low enrollments? Did we have low autoships? And say, what do we need to do to change that the next time? Your business will grow long term. It will be more sustainable. And if you get caught in the sprint, sit down, sprint, sit down, sprint, sit down, I don't care who you are. You're not going to win the race. Your business is going to lack sustainability because it's psychologically, it just wears on people. Okay, so hopefully I answered those 3 points. Okay, what is a push week? It's when you decide we're going to just ramp it up a little bit, maybe run more contests, focus on our low week to focus our energy on that one so we drive up the whole balance. It's raise the level of the boat so that way everyone floats, okay? Who needs to think about it? To me, this is really someone that's in that, upper 1-star, 2-star. No, hey, you just got started. That's fine. Think about it. Oh, what do I need to do to create consistency in my business? If I'm all of a sudden all on fire one week and then, well, your business is never going to get there. So creating that ideality, when can you walk? When can you sprint? When can you run? life happens, and sometimes it's a day-to-day thing. Maybe it's not a week-to-week thing. I mean, we break this down, look at it week day-to-day too. Win. Pick your low weeks. And what do? You make sure it's, hey, all hands on deck. I want to really know. Like, I would love for this whiteboard. I might need to get a bigger whiteboard. The reason I have this size whiteboard is because Kelly thinks it's ugly. You know what? She's right. That's why I hid it behind a picture, because it looks prettier, okay? Because I'm only on so many calls where the whiteboard's important. It's not many, all right? But I would love, it's all of a sudden this whiteboard is, rank after rank after rank. That low week, hey, who's running for what? Now, last week was a high week. That 46, that was a high week. Why? Because we had Crystal Director rank advancement. So I know that if in 4 weeks, say we don't hit our match of 46, that's okay. Honestly, it was artificially inflated because we had all those rank advancement. So I need to look at that and say, hey, you know what? If we get to, and I'm just looking at this, if instead of, 27, 23, 7, 46, if we get to 36, I'm going to be pretty happy with that. It's being realistic, because I know if I look at the rest of those weeks, 36 kind of fits into the mix, right? 46, that's crazy. That's really high because there was a lot of activity. There's a lot of things going on. It was kind of falsely inflated. It was built up. But I need to make sure this week, that one, it's got to hit that. I got to keep energy going. I got to make sure people are walking and not sitting on their butts. Because if you've ever run, I don't run much. But this is what I hear from people that run. This is what I hear people, oh, you got to write bigger. You can't read that? Okay, I'll write bigger next time. You got it. Thank you for that. Appreciate that feedback, Kelly. If people were to sit down on this week, then all of a sudden they start to cramp up. Then all of a sudden their body starts to shut down. Then all of a sudden they really hurt. But if they keep walking, they walk it out. They walk it out. All the next thing you know is they're jogging. And after they're jogging, guess what? That's really kind of a run. And then like, I'm ready to go. Let's go sprint. And so that's where I think this week is essential for a lot of reasons. Coming back to, Whitney, I hope this answered your question. If it didn't, come back at me. I'd love to discuss this more as far as what to do. But I think it's taking a strategy session, get everyone on, hey, what's everyone else's ranks? What's everyone running to? And maybe it isn't a rank. Maybe it's, hey, I want to be able to earn an extra $1,000 so I can make that down payment for my house. Tomorrow is anniversary date number 9 for Kelly and I. And I'm going to share this now. I could probably share it in 2 weeks. Going to share it now. When we started, and maybe I'm kind of over time. It's been a long time this morning. Hopefully you guys got value out of this. But I think this is important, especially in this conversation. When we started with Isogenics, we were on a very, very strict budget. We had lived in Spokane not quite 2 years. We were renting a house, and we wanted to buy a house. We were in a smaller house, 3 kids. It was, I believe, a 3-bedroom, and it just wasn't much space. And we were, it was just kind of getting a little crowded. And we wanted to get a little bit bigger house. We didn't have much of a yard, and it wasn't fenced in. And we wanted that so we could, our kids, they were getting older. At that point, 9 years ago, let's see, they were 4, 3, and 18 months. And we got started in this business. And Kelly was like, she had to set aside her money to be able to buy a 9-day, because that's what she could afford and that's what she got. But then she bought off enough, chicken and spinach and whatever else to get through the rest of the 30 days. And I can remember it was maybe around like the end of the month. And we hadn't really made much money yet. And it was starting to get financially stressful. And it was financially starting to get, do we have enough money to get to our down payment? Because we had to save every penny so that way by the end of July, we could have our down payment. And I'm reminded of this because Kelly shared her new associate interview yesterday. And on that new associate interview, the question is, would you be willing to invest $1,000 in your business to grow? And she said, not until after July 25th. Because July 25th was the day that we were supposed to close on our house. And we needed every single last dollar to close on that house. So we didn't have extra to be able to go to events. We didn't have extra to buy extra product. We didn't have extra. It was tight. And I can remember sitting down with Kelly, and we were like, how much money is going into this? Do we have the money? And she goes, I'll quit. And I'm like, no, I think this makes sense. We ended up having more than enough money, and I'll share with you guys tomorrow, just so you can, finish this story. The amount of money that we were able to make in that first 2 months that helped us be a little easier when we were buying our house, and make it a little easier when we were going to close, and a little easier to buy furniture. But I want to share, sometimes for people, their single goal may not be a rank, may not be recognition, may not be anything, but how can I make a little extra money so our family can, go on vacation whenever that comes back? Or maybe it's, be able to pay for my daughter's dance, or maybe it's pay for my son to be able to go to soccer camp, do soccer skills, whatever it may be. That's for you. And so I think that's what's most important to cue into on those push weeks, is find that stuff, because that stuff always will be longer lasting and more memorable than whatever rank. Because I couldn't tell you what rank we were on July 25th when we bought that house, but I do know that the income that we made it a little bit easier. All right, so thanks for joining, guys. I hope you got value out of this. I will write bigger next time. I'm going to have to go back and watch this. Maybe I just have really good eagle eyes. I don't think that is. But anyways, have a great day, guys. And I will see you tomorrow.